Welcome back to Nightcap Chat, the pop culture podcast. We talk all things comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and more. Today we are talking all the latest updates in the world of pop culture. I'm Blade O'Neill.
Lance O'Neill.
What an eventful week or so, it has been. We couldn't pick just one or two things to talk about. So we have a slew of topics on the docket for today. But before we dive into it, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to listen, like, and share, and subscribe every week. If you do enjoy Nightcap Chat, don't forget to leave a review, especially on iTunes, and, to tell your friends about it on social media. We really appreciate your support. And, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can follow us for all the latest Nightcap Chat updates. But Lance is with me here. Ken should be joining us again next week as he prepares to reopen Drona Comics. I think it's today, actually.
That's exciting.
Yes. Let's start with the bad news. The one bad news that we received on June 19th. Sir Ian Holm passed away, which is sad.
Yeah.
Ian Holm.
He was a great actor, and obviously, he's Bilbo,
Yeah, no, he is Bilbo. Bilbo is my first instinct, for his for all of his iconic roles. Of course, he was in the Alien movies. My second choice, though, for roles I'm familiar with him being in is, of course, Fifth Element, which is a movie we've talked about. It's probably several podcasts now.
Yeah, it's a shame. But
he was 88. He lived.
He was 88. He lived
a good life.
Good long life. Had a great career. And was, as far as I know, from what I heard, great guy too. So,
absolutely. One of my favorite little facts. Ian Holm played Frodo in the audiobook version of Lord of the Rings. So he has professionally played both Frodo and Bilbo. So he's a typecast hobbit. So that's a little fun thing. I think a lot of people tend to forget that. But now let's move on to some brighter news. So I think they just recently announced the release date for it, and now Star Wars Podracer is out today for PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch, which is another thing that we have talked about several times, I believe.
That we wanted to be re-released and redone, and it's kind of exciting.
It's re-released. It's not remastered. I think the resolution has been upgraded, but it's definitely not upgraded graphics here from what we can see. And there's apparently no online multiplayer either, which is mildly disappointing.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising, especially with that other Star Wars game. Was it a Jedi Academy?
Yes.
That they decided that they were going to launch that, and it was also going to have online multiplayer.
Did it?
I believe so.
But was it a game that already had online multiplayer?
It did, yes. It was.
So that's different. That's the code or whatever is already there. This is something you'd have to really implement. And it's a lot easier just to kind of port it over than to start designing parts of it.
I don't know. I feel like it's a little lazy. I don't know. I don't know how difficult really it is to have an online multiplayer, even especially since it didn't really have one before. But I mean, if you did any other game, if you did a game that we would love to have redone would be GoldenEye, right?
Yeah.
Would you expect them to do it and re-release it without online multiplayer?
I mean, I guess not, but GoldenEye probably really needs to be remastered though on top of that. But especially for a shooter, you would probably want online multiplayer for it to be more successful.
Right.
But it's only $14.99. So,
yeah, which isn't terrible.
Yeah.
I plan on playing it maybe today.
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of the Pokemon DLC.
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of that too.
All right. Did you beat the main story?
No, I was just trying to get the Pokemon at first. Like I was just trying to see what Pokemon were around and where I was going to find them because I don't know if you did, but I stayed away from every spoiler. I was just trying to see who was there, what was there, who isn't, and stuff.
Yeah,
So
I didn't stay away from spoilers too much. But the island is a lot bigger than I thought it was. I didn't see like the last trailer, but I had an idea what the main story was on the island of Armor or Isle of Armor or whatever. But I kind of started the same way. I was just going around and seeing what Pokemon were there, exploring the island before I resumed the story. If you didn't beat it, I don't know if you can even start the story because nobody met you at the train station when you got there, right?
No, they did. The dude with the floating balls.
Oh, okay.
Balls?
It did trigger then. Okay, interesting. So you don't have to beat the story.
You were watching the stream, weren't you?
I didn't pop in at the beginning, but like
okay.
I popped in the middle, and you were driving.
Yeah,
around.
no, it was that dumb guy, and I was scared. I was actually scared. I was like, oh gosh, like because I didn't even have like the right Pokemon on me, and I was like, this guy's gonna kill me. Like he's gonna destroy me. And then he throws out like a level 12 Pidgey or something, and I was like, oh, okay.
He had a Pidgey?
I don't remember. It wasn't a Pidgey. It was something like just I don't even remember what it was, but it was just like so anticlimactic.
It was something, yeah, and a Slowpoke then was the second one, right? Yeah, it was similar because it's in Sword and Shield, it's a different person.
Oh,
so like I have this girl with pink hair, and she's like a poison type trainer, and Shield gets the guy with the hat who's a psychic type trainer. And
was she at least cool?
No, she sucked too. Because my wife was playing Shield, and I saw her dialogue, and like they're both,
equally as
weird, and I'm trying to come up with a nice word for her without saying a bad word.
Lame?
Sure.
Like a loser?
Sure. Well, we'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get into spoilers too much, but the character was certainly underwhelming, at least personality wise, which kind of sucks. And it sucks that they both kind of sucked. But the island itself is pretty cool. There's some diverse terrain in there. Did you get to the desert? That's in the way back.
Yeah, where there's just like a sandstorm happening all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran into Rhyperior.
Did you? That's pretty cool.
It ripped me in half, and I caught him though. So it was
that's cool. Yeah, I started playing through most of the story. I'm on what I'm assuming is kind of like the last main part. I'm about to get that started. But I was trying to catch some of the Pokemon, and then admittedly I resumed shiny hunting for Feebas there for a little bit because I'm about to be about over 1,200 eggs deep, I think, and I still don't have a shiny Feebas, which is making me sad. I think it's got to be any egg now, right?
One thing that was really cool though, and it's part of like the reason why the new Pokemon game so good is I was just when I first got into the island, I went out to the water because I just want to see what's out there in the water, and I saw a whale lord from like 10,000 feet away. Like it was so huge, it was insane. I was like, is that it? And I was going closer to him, like, is that a whale lord or is that an island? I couldn't even tell. And I finally get there and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go catch this whale lord. It's level 80 and I'm only level like 60. And I'm like, great, my fire type Pokemon that's starting is going to get destroyed, which it did. And then I ended up killing him by accident.
That's pretty funny. I have a similar story. I saw the whale lord and I was like, that is so cool. Like that there's a whale lord. So I went out in the ocean to go check him out because there's just this giant whale sitting there. Yeah. And I'm getting closer and closer. And something catches my eye to the left. And I see like a little splashing. I'm like, what's that splashing over there? Must be a Pokemon. And I realize it's getting closer and closer. And there's this thing just hauling it toward me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? So I turn around, I keep the camera. I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, I have no idea what's running up on me right now. And then it runs into me and it's a Sharpedo. Like I literally like jumped. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and I exclaimed, I don't know if I cursed or not. But it was, it was just such a surprise to kind of be torpedoed by a Sharpedo. That was pretty neat.
Those are kind of cool. And I mean, they're annoying, but not too annoying. Cause like if they get really close to you, if you just turn left really hard, they can't. It's like an alligator. Like if you just zigzag, they can't get you.
Yeah. Yeah, I did eventually figure that out when I was hatching. In between hatches, I was just collecting watts from the dens. I did discover one of the islands. If you go out there, there's a random Rotom form that you can catch. So yesterday, I thought it was somebody's Pokemon following them, and accidentally walked into it, and I didn't realize it was a wild Rotom. I think it was the lawnmower form. So he was a grass type. It was kind of hard to catch because I didn't have a way of weakening him because my Pokemon were overpowered. So I just kept tossing Ultra Balls.
Yeah, I've been running that issue, not being able to
just toss Ultra Balls. I mean, generally it works, except for some of the harder to catch ones like Chansey. Chansey's catch rate, I think, is very low. So you do have to try something. But that's why I run Pokemon with Spore. Make sure you can put him to sleep at least.
Yeah, I need to go get my Butterfree and put everyone to sleep. The bane of your existence.
You know, it's funny you should say that because I was handing out 5 IV Feebas to my friends, and I made a post on Facebook, and one of my old managers messaged me about getting one. I was like, oh, okay. So I sent him one late at night, and he said, hey, you want to battle? And I was like, sure. I kind of been wanting to battle anyway. And so I was like, let's do doubles because I want to try something. So it pulls up and it's like, select the order of your team. And I saw, and he used all bug team that led with Butterfree. And as soon as I saw the Butterfree, I was like, okay, I guess this isn't even going to work. And his Pokemon were all like, you know, they had good IVs, and obviously they were bred for battle. And there was a sound strategy behind all of them because they were, for the most part, they were all mixed type Pokemon. Like there was a
right, it was like a bug and then something else, right?
Bug fire, bug water. And I just used the team I ran through the game. Like I had one Pokemon that I actually bred to use, and I don't even think I'm done because I don't think his IV spread is any good. But I made sure he had the good item. It's a Aegislash. I made sure he had a good move set, but I mean he didn't stand a chance. I finally took down the Butterfree by the time he took down 5 of my 6 Pokemon. And that was
Butterfree is, I'm telling you, Butterfree is,
he's OP. It's
really
unbelievable. Good. And adding the Gigantamax or Dynamax on top of it.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. So it Dynamaxed, which I think is the change form 1, right? Yeah. I mean, even my Corviknight, was not having it because of the Valkyraina, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. But yeah, I'm enjoying the DLC. It's good stuff. I'm looking forward to the next one. There's supposed to be another big Pokemon announcement this week. Because last week's announcement about the DLC said we're gonna have some news coming next week, and that's on top of them, showing stuff for the DLC. They announced some lame apps, the brush your teeth one and whatever else. And they announced Pokemon Snap, right?
Right, which was so exciting.
We're finally getting a sequel to Pokemon Snap, and it's been, what, like 18, 19, 20 years? Something?
Probably
something in that range.
At least 18, because it came out, had to come out before 2002, right?
Well, Pokemon just celebrated was it a 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary? I don't know.
It has to be 25th. I want to
20.
Say
No, it's 20 because it came out in 98, right?
Yeah, it came out in 98 or 95. Pokemon Snap came out in March of 1999.
Okay, so 19 years. Or no.
21
20 years. Yeah. Oh, damn. Wow. Well, I mean, it only took them 2 decades to make a sequel, even though it's probably one of the most popular games. Something that people have been asking about for years and years, and all we got was a port over to the Wii U, I think it was.
Yeah, and they dropped the ball on that one because I mean, the whole thing behind the Wii U was like you could like take the handheld part for some games and move it, and it would move your like where you were looking in the game. Like you could have had it where you used the Wii U, controller itself as the camera to look around and take the picture.
Oh, they didn't do that?
No.
Oh.
So it was kind of like it was set up perfectly, and then you just drop the ball on it.
Wow.
Which I feel like they should also do for the Switch, but I don't know. I don't think that they will. I think it's just going to be a regular turn and look.
Well, our friend Drew mentioned that the Nintendo Lab thing has a camera attachment, and it would be cool if they implemented that, which is a good point. I don't know anyone who's excited about that Lab thing. I don't know anybody who used it, but I mean, this would definitely generate interest to the Pokemon fans who are, fanatical about Pokemon generally. I mean, like that's why I bought, a 3DS, a DSi. It was specifically to play Pokemon. That's the main reason why I got a Switch. And the reason why I held out for a Switch was to make sure there wasn't going to be a Pokemon edition of the Switch, which there was, but it was disappointing because I didn't want the yellow and brown Let's Go Pikachu version. Like, I didn't care for that. And then for Sword and Shield, they just did the Switch Lite. And once again, I was disappointed. So I technically held out for nothing.
Sure. I think they dropped the ball on that too.
About the special editions?
Yeah, for the Pokemon game. I mean, I know they did it for Let's Go Pikachu, but I don't know. I think people would have bought it.
I think so too. I was ready.
People would have returned their other ones or traded it into GameStop and bought the new one.
I was ready. I was just waiting for them to announce it, But yes, they certainly did. But I didn't watch the new trailer for Pokemon Snap. But I mean, it's a new Pokemon Snap. Like this is a sequel. Is it clear who the playable character is? Because I didn't watch the latest trailer.
I didn't pay attention to it. I assumed it was just maybe someone you made.
That would be cool.
Because I don't think it was somebody of significance.
Because at this point, Todd is, a relic of the past.
Right.
Did they show him? It wasn't him.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they showed. I want to say they showed somebody, but I think it was just like a regular, like made up female character or something.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean that would be cool. Like I'd rather like pretend to play as myself than some other character. So like,
I'm just glad in the trailer they kept the whole Apple thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. You just need to give us the 700, 800, 900 Pokemon and a bunch of courses. And I mean, sure, you can add something besides an apple. You can add another thing, but that whole dynamic of just I can run through this course and then. Oh, I didn't get the Pikachu close enough to the surfboard, so I can't get the picture of Pikachu on a surfboard thing. Like that whole thing was just super fun. Or getting Charizard to jump into the volcano and get a picture of him flying out.
Or knock Charmeleon into the lava.
Right? And then try to get Moltres to come out of the volcano or whatever. And
that's right, because there was an egg or something, wasn't
something like that? You had to like hit it with something, I believe.
Yeah.
Or you'd have the Charmeleon fall in, Charizard evolve, and then Charizard flamethrower it. So it hatched or something. I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But I mean, of course, the big payoff at the end was you can do the level with Mew and you can try to capture a picture of Mew, which of course, Mew is.
But you have to break Mew's energy shield first.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, you have to throw apples at it to break the energy shield, but because if you went to go look at through your camera when it had the shield up, there was nothing there. It was like a shiny ball.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
But you felt bad because you're like, oh, like I hurt, because the Mew go, Mew, like, oh, and you're like, oh, I hurt the poor thing.
Yeah, Mewtwo wasn't in the game, was he?
No, I don't believe
that. Would be a fun
no. Mewtwo is at the end of the Mew level, I want to say, and it's like really hard because you have to take a picture of both of them. I think.
Really, I don't remember that.
I think so. You can take pictures of no. The only thing they did was the stars. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that might be another fun thing to do something differently, something a little more dangerous with some of the legendary Pokemon. Or maybe that's a story. Like maybe one of the subplots is you get like hired for all these great pictures because they want you to infiltrate this facility and figure out what they're making, and you discover it's Mewtwo and you take pictures of Mewtwo. I don't know. Maybe that gets too dark and deep there, but just some kind of,
I don't know. Some of these Pokemon games get pretty dark.
That's true. That's true.
Especially Sun and Moon had a couple of moments where it was like, oh, okay.
I caught a Sandygast, I think it's called, in the new DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And it said something along the lines of Sandygasts are formed when, after you die and are buried, if you have unfinished business, the spirit of the dead possesses the sandcastle, and that becomes that Pokemon. Something really dark and twisted like that. And I was like, whoa.
Well, it's not as bad as the Corsola.
The Corsola, which is like, it's pretty much just like dead.
It's a dead Corsola. Like, it's so, oh my gosh. So creepy.
Yep. It's crazy. Yeah, Pokemon can get pretty dark here. So something we talked about, I think it was last week, was Star Wars Squadrons. And we talked about some of the things that we wanted to see, and there was gameplay coming out. So like we got some of that gameplay, and you streamed it.
Yeah, we watched it together live, right?
Yep. And I didn't realize there was going to be a whole EA presentation. So there was a lot of information I didn't care about.
Yeah, a lot of bad information too. Nothing that was of use. Mm-hmm. Most of it.
Yep. Hosted by somebody who probably found themselves a lot more hilarious than the viewers did, but I digress there. But we did get some of the Star Wars Squadron information. Now, the main thing I wanted was these things to be zippy, and I think I got it. But
100%.
In this twist, I didn't expect it to be. I don't want to say I didn't expect it to be well thought out, but I didn't realize they were really thinking this through. And there's a class system.
Yeah, and I think it's good because I think it makes it adds for more of a dynamic to maybe make the game more than just I'm gonna fly around and just kill people over and over again, and that's that, you know?
Yeah.
It makes it a little more strategic in how you want to play things. Kind of like Overwatch. They have 2 healers or whatever, and you're running, a certain amount of DPS or tanks. How are you going to combat it? So I think they did an extremely good job, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's I know I said I wanted some simplicity here, but it's really interesting that they're paying attention to the dash controls. Like you can shift the power over to your shields, or focus the firepower over to your lasers or your cannons or whatever. And I mean, how cool is that? Because you watch all the Star Wars movies and you hear them talking about that,
right?
Like R2, shift all the power to our shields or whatever, and we get to do that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool, and I think they're not scared to make this a little more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say that they were more comfortable doing it because I think that a game like Fortnite actually has a part in this, in the fact that you're taking a somewhat simple concept of like, okay, a shooter game, and then adding a whole new dynamic and element to it that sounds like it could be really complicated, but people could get really good at, and it could be really interesting. Like in Fortnite, they added building, and in the beginning, like nobody knew how to build. Like you sat in a corner, you built like this little house that took you 50 minutes to build, and then that was it. You just waited for the circle. Now people like make a whole house in 4 seconds, and I could see like that's how this game would go, where you see people fighting, and it's going to be about communication, and be like, there's a guy in your tail. You're like, okay, you have to push a button real quick to put the power into your shields behind you, and I think it's going to be a very complex game. But it's going to be complex as the game just progresses, where people start eventually getting good at it. And I think it's going to be an actual like fun game that has more than just it's a dogfight and that's it.
Well, that's what's going to keep the interest too.
Right.
It's like, okay, I've played dogfight mode, 10 times, and now let's switch over to something else. But there's more than one game mode. I imagine there's going to be like missions in there that'll add another level, of complexity. But there will be those that need to master the shifting the power to the shields and the cannons and the whatever, on top of hopefully having an interesting story. It's a cool time period, post Return of the Jedi, right around, we're exploring that right now with the Mandalorian and stuff. Though this is a cool era to explore, and it's going to give us the classic TIE fighters and X-wings.
Yep.
And quite frankly, if this goes well, sequels / prequels, can explore other eras, like the prequels, and then of course the sequels, we get the more modern TIE fighters and X-wings, and that would be cool as well.
I think some of that could have to do with, because they could always put out, I know they haven't said anything, at least I don't think they've said anything. They could always put out a DLC or a pack. They could always just put out a pack of, hey, the game's done so well, we decided to make, Naboo ships, or you could buy it for like $3 a Naboo ship. But they did say there's no microtransactions.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would just be cool. It'd be interesting. I'm super excited to play it, and the customization of how they said how you can customize your ships is really cool and interesting.
Yeah, and the characters as well, and I'm glad they're on board with that, because I mean it's going to be everyone wearing the same thing, and customization is something that like everybody enjoys. And at first I was thinking like, how are you going to customize a TIE pilot? Everyone's just wearing a helmet, and then I realized you have all these paint jobs, and we even saw them in the trailer, with the red skull painted on the TIE pilot helmet and stuff. So there might be some interesting patterns on there.
To me, the coolest thing that they showed about customization, and I don't remember what it was, but there was like on the dash of the ship, there was like a
Ewok
bobblehead, yeah. That was just sitting there, and I was like, that's awesome. That's like the one thing I think I'm going to want while I'm playing is I need like an Ewok bobblehead while I'm flying around my spaceship.
100%, because I mean that's always been the downfall of customization, right? In a first-person game, is you never get to enjoy it. You never see yourself running around. It's kind of for how everyone else perceives you, rather than something you get to enjoy while you're actually playing it. Right. So like that's the one thing, is like having something on your dash, or even customizing the dash itself, would be cool. And yes, I thought that was hysterical, because why not?
Right. And that's funny because like you say that, because when I used to play Skyrim, I used to play it in third person until I got into a battle, and then I switched it to first person because I always wanted to see my character, because like I try so hard to make my character look cool or whatever, and it would get so annoying that if I want to fight, I want to be in first person, because like it's just easier and better. But yeah, that's a good point. It's going to be like your customization will basically be your little dashboard for this game.
Yeah, I think that's really neat and really cool. Having the not only cross-platform, as we talked about, but the ability to also play in VR. And it doesn't even matter if I want to put on my headset and you guys don't want to, like, it'll still just all work. And I think just having that option is perfect for this game, because you can look around in your cockpit and you can enjoy your little bobblehead. But I think games like this is, what VR was meant for,
Right.
I mean, like, this is, if for nothing else, it's this, I sure, walking around in VR and stuff is cool, but just sit there in a cockpit with your controller or a joystick, because there's going to be joystick support. I almost want to buy a joystick just for the full experience of this.
Right.
I think it'd be so cool to be able to sit, in my office or something with my Oculus, have a joystick. I'm in my chair that feels like a pilot's chair, and be a TIE pilot. I mean, that's the best. And TIE pilots, like I said, are my favorite stormtrooper. They're one of my favorite things. So like, I mean, this is a dream game potentially.
Don't you have the helmet of Poe's helmet?
I do have a Poe
Are you
Dameron
gonna
helmet.
put it on while you play? If you're playing on the Rebels?
Maybe. Yeah, I can't. I definitely can't wear it with my Oculus, but maybe if we stream it, I'll put it on. I might have to put the visor up though, because it's yellow.
But it's yellow, so that's good because isn't the yellow visor stop blue light?
It stops blue light. You're absolutely
so
correct.
So it's good for your eyes.
Maybe, yeah. So that's why it's yellow. Yeah, I would totally. If you ever stream it, I would totally wear that on the Rebels. And you know, it's funny. I have a TIE pilot jumpsuit as well. Cool. I have the whole costume for a TIE reserve pilot. I just have to get the armor to make it a regular TIE pilot, which I'll probably get soon. But I have a TIE pilot jumpsuit as well, so I can do both.
Maybe I'll put on my Iron Man helmet while you have that on.
There you go. And of course, you know, the reserves have the hat. But yeah, I mean, it'll be fun for sure. And you know, the release date is October 2nd. Like that's just a couple months away.
Yeah, honestly, September and October is looking really good, and it's going to be crazy. Man, September and October is going to be crazy for me, and it's going to be like the best month of my life. But I'm excited.
Yes,
it's going to be awesome.
You're gonna tell everybody what you're ominously referring to here.
Oh well, I have a baby coming in September, and my house is going to be being built in September, end of September, early October, and we got Marvel's Avengers coming out in September, which I've been dying for. We got Wars Squadrons coming out in October, so it's just a lot of good things happening.
A lot of things happening, yeah. And we should have Black Widow in November, right?
Oh yes,
yeah.
Oh. So 2020 is going to end for me with a big positive note, hopefully.
Yes. I mean, all these delays kind of, I think, made everything that kind of start to happen at the same time because we've had a lot of nothing over the last few months. And there's nothing there's nothing to even report. But now we have a whole episode just about reporting on various things.
And I think a lot of it does have to do with, because it's kind of weird that we keep getting these games and then they're like, this is going to be out in like 2 months. And you're like, wait, what? Like, and I think part of it was they weren't sure what to say or when they were going to do it because of the whole situation. So they were just like, let's not like say something and then push it back because then there's going to be negative stuff about it. And then, so I feel like they're just people are just pulling the trigger now and announcing these things. And it's just all happening like, whoa, what is all this? Where's all this coming from?
Yeah. And I think part of that too, before this started, there was uncertainty about certain industries and which ones were going to do well, you know?
Right.
The video games have done incredibly well. I mean, look at Animal Crossing alone. And probably a part of that too stemmed from their E3 presentations, because how cool would it be to unveil something like it's coming out in 2 months?
Right.
Like, wow, great. You know, like that's like the most exciting thing. Or even like out now when they announce something, you know?
Yeah.
Like that was some of the best announcements from E3, but we didn't get that. So I think part of it stems from that as well. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned Marvel's Avengers getting new footage tomorrow. I'm assuming they're doing a playthrough. Is that?
That's what it sounded like. They said we're going to go through like the war room and go over some game stuff. They said some gameplay. So hopefully we get some new gameplay footage and maybe I don't want too many spoilers, but I just want to see a little bit more than what they showed.
Yeah. One of the coolest things they announced was if you buy it for PlayStation 4, you can do a free upgrade to PlayStation 5.
Which is awesome.
That is awesome. I'm assuming you have to buy it digitally, though, to take advantage of that, because I don't know how you'd curb that otherwise.
Probably, yes.
Because
I would say you have to.
Right? Which kind of sucks for me, because I'd rather have the disc.
Actually, they might just give you a code.
Interesting.
You know, I would say if you probably bought it as a disc, there would be a code to say, hey, if you have PS5, here's your code for the PS5. Kind of like with the DVDs where it's like, here's your DVD, but here's your 4K code for your if you want to watch it.
That's a good idea.
It's probably a similar concept.
Have it expire at the end of 2021 or something. Make those good for a year.
2025. I mean, what does it matter? You can make an expiration date, whatever, right?
I mean, in theory, but I feel like all of the digital codes like expire after a year or two, because I've
Although,
lost out on a ton of them.
They might want to do that. The only issue with that is I could see people being like, well, I don't want a PS4. So could you give it to like your friend and be like, hey, you're going to play it on the PS5. Here's like a free. Here's a game for
So you're
free.
saying people can start selling the code?
Yeah. So unless you make it that it's only for your account, I guess.
Well, how do you link it to your account without putting it in first? See, we just figured out why it's not gonna work, because people are just gonna start selling their digital code copies, undercut the
I'm
MSRP.
probably and I'm probably gonna buy it for PC and PS4. So
Why?
One, I want to play it on PC because I want the PC specs.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enjoy the game in 60 frames 4K, right?
Okay.
On PS4, they have. I mean, it's Sony has a deal with them to have exclusive
Content.
in-game content, so I don't want to miss out on it.
So they gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine as long as they produce. I'm fine spending a lot of money into a game. I plan on this being the only game I play for the next like 5 years. This is what I'm hoping for.
What
Yeah,
about
except for maybe Rogue Squadrons. Maybe once in a while. Hey, all right, I'll play.
What about Overwatch? You're gonna play Overwatch.
Easy on the Overwatch. Okay,
Come on. Little Overwatch.
we don't even know when Overwatch 2 comes out.
It'll be at the end of the year.
Did they say holiday 2020?
I thought that's what they were shooting for. BlizzCon got canceled, so
Right.
I think we're just waiting for whatever digital virtual thing they decide to do. So a thought crossed my mind the other day. Speaking of the Avengers, you had brought up the fact that maybe Marvel and DC were considering doing a Marvel versus DC something, whether it was in the movies or whatever. But there are little things popping up here and there that we discussed on previous episodes. For that full episode, I think it's called Marvel versus DC crossover. I don't know what the episode number is.
But it's very good, and it's a very interesting theory.
Yeah,
check it out.
So I thought maybe how they could do that a lot easier than doing a live action movie while still doing a live, or still keeping their respective cast and stuff. We have a What If series coming out that's all about alternate universes. So how cool
that's
would
going
it
to be animated though, right?
Yes, exactly. But it's animated, but they still look like the respective actors and stuff. I think that would be the easiest, most cost-efficient way to do like an episode or a 2-part episode. And you can have Henry Cavill play Superman, and have it not be confusing, because you're explicitly saying like this is an alternate timeline in which we're doing this crossover. You have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. You can have, what's his name? Who plays Aquaman? Jason Momoa. I think that is the best way to go about it. And what a cool finale would that be?
That'd be really cool.
But
because
you don't want it in the mainstream movies. That's too confusing.
It is too confusing. I'm just, you know what it is? It's just one of those things that, like, they're gonna fight. You're assuming they're gonna fight, right?
They're gonna fight. They fought about it every single time.
Right. So how does that work? We're gonna have Thor kill Superman.
I mean,
they're gonna have Superman win.
It's probably gonna work like the comic books. Like they're gonna keep finding common ground and turn against the bad guy.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's what happened with Superman and Spider-Man. Even though, like, Spider-Man has no business fighting Superman.
Well, in that comic, I believe Superman went to go punch him and stopped.
Yeah, because he didn't want to.
And he didn't even hit him, and then Spider-Man went flying across into a building because of just the force from the punch.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I didn't want to kill him, which is obvious. I mean, it's Spider-Man. It's not. This isn't Thor or the Hulk or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So who do you think would be the equal bad guy if they were to do that? They're gonna have Galactus appear.
no, dude, Thanos and Darkseid with the Infinity Gauntlet. You know,
Darkseid with Infinity Gauntlet. It sounds just like Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet.
It is. I mean, and they did it, and he puts it on and stuff, and his scientists or whatever they have in Apocalypse, they analyze it and they said like, oh, this thing has crazy power, but apparently not in this universe. So because the gauntlet only works in the respective reality, so it's like, right. Oh, this is effectively useless then. I mean, just the comics are there, just adapt it. It's fine, maybe some fun little twists. Who's going to play Batman? I have no idea. Is it going to be Ben Affleck? Is it going to be Robert Pattinson? I mean, this is perfect time for right now for DC, because apparently they don't even have any idea what's going on. Their universe is in shambles.
Just use it to kill the characters you don't like. That's what I think.
And then bring them back. And I mean, they're not gonna let their universe be contingent upon it. Yeah. And Jason Momoa. Everybody else is completely useless. You could just mash in your universe, come back out of it, and it's like a different Superman came in and a different Batman because their universe got destroyed, but your Batman and your Superman died, which is fine. It's just another way to reboot it. I don't know. I want to say that's the whole point of doing Flashpoint now, because out of everything that got canceled, the Flash movie didn't, and it's based on Flashpoint, which I don't know why you would start with that and not have that be your third movie in a Flash trilogy.
Because you've already done like 7 Flashes and you're just trying to see which one sticks.
I have no idea. Now they want to fire Ezra Miller because of the bad things he did, which we want to talk about. But now, now there's rumors going around that Michael Keaton is in talks to reprise his role as Batman, and that's Bruce Wayne Batman. Like when I first saw the headlines, I had assumed it was going to be a Thomas Wayne Batman. But apparently it would be old man Bruce Wayne, probably from this alternate timeline, and him being the same Batman that he was from 1989. And I like that the article, I think it was a Superhero Hype article, said it would ignore the Joel Schumacher Batman movies, which were effective sequels to Batman and Batman Returns, the Tim Burton ones, which is kind of funny. But I have a theory about that, because Flashpoint, of course, when they go to an alternate timeline, Thomas Wayne becomes Batman. Bruce Wayne is who's shot in the alley. And Martha Wayne, his mom, becomes the Joker. So the same incident happens, but it's Bruce Wayne who dies. And so his dad becomes Batman, his mom becomes Joker. So it's like, that's how it plays out. So if there's a multiverse in play here, why would you do old man Bruce Wayne if you weren't going to set up Batman Beyond?
Okay.
Right? Maybe that's what it's for. I mean, that would be cool.
Can I get old man Mr. Freeze with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I guess so. I mean, is he still around in the Beyond? It
would be kind of cool.
Well, they're ignoring the Joel Schumacher one.
I know
it's free reign, except for I would dig an Joker died, right? At least for what we know.
Supposedly. I mean, you didn't see him die, but I mean, he was laying there, right?
Yeah. With his box was laughing.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman would be cool.
Or you just bring Clooney in as Batman.
No thanks. They're ignoring the Joel Schumacher ones.
I know.
I mean, you can do a lot.
You could.
It'll be really cool to see Michael Keaton play old man Bruce Wayne, and there's a lot of potential there, especially to do like a Dark Knight storyline. Although they just did him fighting Superman and Batman versus Superman, so like, what else can you really do? I mean, having him fight the Joker would be cool.
I don't know, the whole dynamic's just kind of weird because I feel like they've done a decent amount of stuff with Batman, and everyone else not really.
Yeah.
So like he's kind of like ahead of the game, but then you're going to put him in all these alternate universes, but you've only had one Wonder Woman movie and we haven't seen the second one yet, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like you're just jumping too far ahead. It's like if Marvel did like 8 Iron Man movies and then finally decided to do Thor, like you're just making it like it's kind of hard to figure out where you're going to go next because you're wasting storylines on one character that you could have used for many characters.
Yeah, and they tried too hard with Justice League to get to that point, and when it didn't work out, like they freaked out,
right?
And they threw their slate away and everything else, and they should have just kept going. Like, okay, like you messed up, go back to the solo films, start to slowly work on things again. You know, everything's okay. Don't just throw everything out. But I mean, but now I don't even know what's going on. I haven't seen any reliable sources talk about it, but I do see like memes and rumors that Jeffrey Dean Morgan will, or is at least talking about playing Thomas Wayne again. You know, Jeffrey Dean Morgan played Negan on The Walking Dead and the comedian in Watchmen. So he played Thomas Wayne in a cameo in Batman versus Superman, and he'd be perfect for the Thomas Wayne Batman.
Right.
So hopefully he still gets to play that because, I mean, you would imagine that's the whole reason why you cast him in this throwaway role, right?
Right.
So that would be cool.
Yeah, because I mean that's kind of like a weird, decent named actor to just put in for like a 5-second thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of his Walking Dead co-stars, whose name is kind of eluding me here, she played Maggie on The Walking Dead. You know, she was Martha Wayne, and she's a good actress. You know, whatever. It'd be fun to see her play the Joker. Why not?
Why'd you say that name,
Martha?
Martha.
So silly. All right, last little bit of news I wanted to touch on, kind of. I think it was at Hasbro. They did a little stream. It was pretty boring. I couldn't sit through it. I kind of skipped around. And the big announcement was they're adding to their Marvel Legends costume, you know, wearable collection. Except you cannot wear this particular item. Instead of doing a mask, they are doing a Deadpool head that can talk. It's interactive. It moves. It's electronic. It has expressions. It's $100. Comes in the box just like the Iron Man helmet or, you know, all the Marvel Legends helmets and replicas. I'm a huge Deadpool fan. You know, Deadpool was always my favorite character. Been collecting him since 1998. This is so stupid. I'm sorry. This is so stupid. And this is a toy not for kids too, because it curses and stuff.
I think it's definitely stupid for the line it's in.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
This has no business being in the Marvel Legends, like the same thing with the Iron Man helmets. Like that's not where this belongs. This belongs as like almost like a gag gift $35 toy kind of a thing that's like funny, not some $100 with really cool other items line of product. I don't know what they were thinking about this.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'll probably do well just because everyone likes the silly Deadpool stuff for some reason. Apparently, there's an app that you can use to. I don't. Frankly, like I barely care enough to remember. I would rather have had an officially licensed Deadpool mask to wear.
I don't even think like the mask. To me, the mask isn't what they should have went for. You could have put out his katanas. I mean,
but then it was just like fake swords, you know.
I mean, I guess, but like usually they like it's for Thor, it's his hammer. For Captain America, it's his shield. Why wouldn't you want his katanas on his back or something? I don't know, because I feel like a mask. I don't want to. Like, it's a cloth mask. There's nothing special about Deadpool's mask.
Well,
you want to pay $100 for it?
I mean, maybe not $100.
That's just the only thing, because like for the other characters, when they did the mask, like Iron Man, obviously it's a cool, like it's a helmet that's electronic. The Black Panther thing is the same thing. It's supposed to be adamantium, laced
Mhm.
helmet. Ant-Man mask has electronics to go with it. The mask, Deadpool mask, is just a mask.
I mean, I would have liked to have seen maybe a Deadpool belt buckle, and you could have had
Okay.
that be electronic and interactive, because at least in the 97 run, that belt buckle was a teleporter. You probably
Right.
could have made it glow or something. And you know what? If you wanted to put little stupid phrases in there when you push it, like maybe that would have been fine. Um, the head, I don't know. I'm incredibly disappointed that this is what they came out with. And I really wish they would stop pushing all the cursing and stuff. Like, he cursed a little bit, like in the original comics, but like it's just so much. Like, why do you make it so raunchy? Like, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's silly. If you like it, power to you. Go buy it. Go spend $100 on a something you'll enjoy for 10 minutes. I know there's a lot of different things it can say and do, but I don't know. I think it would get annoying after a while.
I I don't really see the point in it. I guess it'd be okay if you just want to have like, oh look, it's like Deadpool's face somewhere. I don't know, but I mean, you could just get a mask and put it on it.
I have a
Little,
cool Deadpool mask that I bought off of somebody who makes, little costume replicas and stuff. It's a really cool mask. And I have it on a little mannequin next to my
yeah,
Thor hammer and stuff. And I like it like that. And I get the option to put it on, which
right.
makes it even cooler. I think that's the main thing it's missing, is like you can't just put it on, because like everything else, like you can be the character.
Yeah,
you can lift
I
somebody
think
over.
like it's not like we haven't had in the past like a Darth Vader like voice changer. Like you put on the helmet and there's like a voice changer. Why couldn't you just do like a voice changer thing? And you could have also had phrases,
Mm-hmm.
but just have like a little thing. Why? I just don't get why you can't wear. Why would you put something out in a line of products that's about wearing it and being the character, and not being able to wear it or be the character?
Just because I guess there was no way to cheaply implement the electronics in a way that they weren't like distracting on a cloth mask, and have the eyes move without it maybe also being dangerous, without
That's
spending
true.
the proper money on making it not dangerous.
But what are they going to do when they, if they want to start put out a Spider-Man one? You want his eyes to move. They're gonna,
And just
you know what I mean, for
don't
expressions.
don't
Just don't have his
move.
eyes to move.
Yeah, just don't, because I mean, his eyes haven't moved except for the MCU one with his Stark tech.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. A nice way to implement that from the comics, because like the comics, the eyes move just because it's easier to draw it that way and convey facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really neat. And also, for those of you who collect the Marvel Diamond exclusive figures, or Diamond series, or whatever they're called, you'll know when you see them. They're doing a Taskmaster figure from the comics, which is really neat. And I hope that means that he'll be relatively close to his comic book origins, because they're putting out all this Taskmaster merchandise, which is really cool. He's a character who doesn't get a lot of love. I might have to pick that up. I think he's a Disney Store exclusive, I believe. I think they're $25 figures, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't collect a ton of them, but just characters I really like. I think I have both of the Deadpool ones. They did a Thanos with a little death. It's a really cool set.
That's cool.
So might have to get Taskmaster, because I do have a few Taskmaster figures. I think that'd be really cool for the collection.
I was thinking about the whole. I know this is kind of, but you just mentioned Thanos and death, so it would have been kind of cool that if after, obviously he's dead now, right?
Yeah.
But if they could somehow, whatever, if he's still around or another alternate universe, who knows? But if you could just make it that whole thing about him trying to save the universe was more of a front and just an excuse to do it for death. But it was the only way that he could try to have people try to maybe get on his side, because he was trying to put some logic. Yeah, it was more of a manipulative tactic than it was his actual 100% intent.
And how much cooler would Endgame have been? Because you kill him right in the beginning, right? And you know what?
Uh-huh.
And I would say spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen Endgame at this point, that's your fault.
Basically, yeah.
I was really disappointed they just unceremoniously run in, cut off his arm, and then chop off his head. And then I was like, well, what's the rest of the movie going to be? And it felt kind of like a cop-out to bring 2014 Thanos into the current timeline to finish this story off. How much cooler would it have been if you killed Thanos, you don't do complicated time travel, but death brings back Thanos, and he specifically said, I used the stones to destroy the stones. I reduced them to atoms. So they're still around, but they're atoms. We already saw Ant-Man go subatomic. Why couldn't he shrink down, grab an atom of each Infinity Stone, and also enlarge the size of the Infinity Stone atom to bring the stone back? And then you could have done the story mostly the same, aside from the time travel part, without complicated time travel.
And you have Adam Warlock come by and get the Infinity Gauntlet.
Sure. Just not having Adam Warlock and Death in Endgame was a disservice to the original story.
Yes. But it was still a good movie.
Yes. I like it.
Yeah.
Now that I thought about it, I like it a lot less than I did when I first saw it.
But we'll see what happens after that, because maybe I know you're like, what are you saving it for if you don't use it for that? But maybe there's something else. We'll see.
The 80th anniversary pop for Adam Warlock was him with the Infinity Gauntlet. And on the back, it's him with it saying, let the conflict end, when he obtains it from the Infinity Gauntlet story in the comic books. It's so iconic. It's his 80th anniversary figure. It's like, what else are you doing there? I mean, I guess, what are you going to do? Magus? Because that's what happens.
For secret,
Magus is like Dark Brother or whatever.
Right, but he ends up starting Secret Wars, Battle World?
Infinity, I think it's Infinity War.
Yeah, but right after that, it has something to do with
Secret Wars 2 or something. I thought that was still like the Beyonder and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it leads into.
No, yeah, you're right.
I don't know. It is disappointing. But I think that's about everything we had lined up for today. So, I mean, a lot of cool stuff coming out, you know.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It'll be interesting to see, you know, what even more is announced, you know. Like, I mean, in theory, this is just the beginning, you know. We got I think San Diego Comic-Con might have a panel this week, too.
Right. So, by the way, I don't know, I'm pretty sure we haven't touched this. Marvel has their own Twitch account now. So for those of you who want to see what Marvel was going to announce, I guess, for San Diego Comic-Con, you can go follow them on Twitch.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's just Marvel.
Yeah.
You go there, follow them, so that way you don't miss their Hall H presentation.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's why they made it.
Right. And, you know, who knows? We might see a trailer for Scarlet Witch or no trailer for Eternals. I mean, there's a lot of good potential things that are going to be shown. And then maybe they have some movie dates lined up that aren't announced officially what it is yet. So it could be some huge movies being announced.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I feel like we haven't had any new Marvel movie anything in such a long time. It would definitely be refreshing. You know, maybe even just some Fantastic Four casting would be exciting, because maybe they'll pop up in one of these movies and we don't know it yet. You know, that'd be a cool way to introduce them. I mean, they did that with Spider-Man and Black Panther. You know, why not Fantastic Four as well?
Right.
So, yes, very exciting. But yeah, I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen. If you don't follow us on social media, you know, we're at Nightcap Chat on Facebook and Twitter, and at Nightcap_chat on Instagram. You know, give us a follow, and you get all the latest updates on episode releases and other little things we do. Lance, a little bit about you.
Yeah, and you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram and on Twitch at Tales of Lance. where I stream a variety of games. Mainly, it's been Sea of Thieves and some MLB The Show lately. But when that Marvel Avengers game comes out, that'll definitely be it. And Rogue Squadron. We also sometimes, even Blade will join me. Sometimes we'll watch some big presentations. So if it's like EA doing a presentation one day, or Marvel's doing a presentation, I'll definitely watch it together on stream. So if you guys want to see our raw reactions to it, you can experience that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's Tales of Lance, TALES.
It's an Iron Man homage.
Tales of Suspense. Get it? Thank you all for taking the time to listen, and we'll catch you next week.
Have a good week.